Yes, watching Prime Morning, and it's time for us to delve into what the newspapers have for us over the weekend, or maybe I should say that getting to the end of the week of last week, we saw some Ghanaians go on the street to protest Occupy Julorbi House. Julorbi is supposed to be Jubilee, but it was termed Julorbi House, and we saw a lot of citizens go on the street. Day one wasn't the best of it because we saw the police get upset. The police arrested some people. There are claims that they were manhandled, but the police actually came out to say nobody was manhandled. But there are evidence of that. I have personally seen a video of people being manhandled. There were videos circulating on social media, but police came out to debunk it. Well, the police also went ahead to release a statement yesterday to apologize to those that were affected because of the protest, especially to the people that were supposed to ply the road, but unfortunately had to be in traffic due to this protest. They apologized to them, and they are hoping that next time that there will be a protest, this will not be happening. This protest lasted for 3 days. On Saturday evening, they actually came out to say they had ended the protest, but they might go back on the streets to make the noise again if the economy doesn't get better. Did this work? Do you think the government will listen and will see a better economy? Or you think it's just one of those things that people go on the street, make noise, and we do not get results? Let's hear your voices this morning. We'll talk about other things as well. Let me introduce my guests this morning to you. Representing the NPP as usual on Monday mornings, Manasseh Attawahin. Good morning, Manasseh.
Good morning, Rosalie.
How are you?
Very well, and you?
I'm fine, thank you.
You always look good.
Is it? Thank you so much.
I'll follow you to your fashion designer one of these days. You know.
Manasseh, thank you. Well, Manasseh is a government spokesperson on economy, and I know that when we talk about the Ghana's debt rising, he'll definitely have a lot to say. Representing the NDC this morning actually is a lawyer who probably will speak more about the Occupy Julorbi House protest. He might give us more insights into the whole law thing because there was supposed to be an injunction on them, but the citizens who went on the street said they never received any injunction. His name is lawyer Philemon Nar. He's representing the NDC this morning. Hello.
Hi, Rosalie.
How are you?
Very well. I can't help but agree to my brother that you look very good.
Is it? Thank you so much. Okay, I'm more Well, let's start off with what the newspapers have, then we go into our topic for today. We start off with the Ghanaian Publisher newspaper, which is our first newspaper, Ghanaian Publisher. A Greek minister refused farmers' claims. Government trains 2,000 hospitality staff in French. Majority leader Asenso Boakye mourn former Bantama MP. Political leaders sustaining corruption. Togbe Afede says so. The banner headline, Vomayo, is that how you pronounce his name?
Vomawo.
Okay. Vomawo sweat over bribe lie. And I think that he actually addressed a few media houses saying that he had been approached by some persons in government with $1 million to keep mute. But the government came out to debunk it, and it looks like the Ghanaian Publisher is saying that he lied, but the lie is in quotes. So he's yet to prove it. Well, he said he had audios though. So we'll get to know who is telling the truth and who is lying. I hope nobody comes out to say the audio is doctored. And I hope that audio is not doctored too. The Daily Guide newspaper, protesters plan to occupy Mahama's office. Okay, no camping of delegates. MPP wants flag bearer aspirants. Light Foundation marks International Peace Day. Akufo angry over $1 billion rich tag. Oh, so he's not that rich. So he's angry. He's not. You people should not be giving him a rich tag when he's not rich. Ex-Bantama MP's death sparks controversy. Yes, it did spark controversy. There was a video circulating where a few women in Kumasi actually were alleging that he had taken their land and they were the rightful owners, and they were cursing him that he would die, he will answer from his grave, and so. I don't know if any of you saw that video. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did. I saw it.
You saw it too. Could it be the reason for his death?
Well, for me, I'd be very careful in wanting to admit in African electronics. I'd rather wait for the medical report.
Oh, but that one, the autopsy will not say anything.
We cannot rule out the fact that there's really something called...
Yeah.
But, well, it's sad. I mean, Such a fine man. I knew him. He was such a fine man.
Right. And that's the way.
Rosalind.
Were you shocked at the video?
Extremely shocked. I mean, I was extremely shocked, and I was saddened by his demise as well. May his soul rest in peace. As for the causes, I mean, it's up to God. Because as you said, we might run some autopsies, but we definitely might not know the exact cause. Even though in our setting, I mean, incidences of curses are quite paramount in our lives, but I believe it's the calling of God, and we believe he finds rest with God.
All right. The Finder newspaper is the next newspaper. We are just doing our work and not harassing traders, says GRA. Hey, did you hear? If you're an MC, if you're a blogger, you're going to be taxed. Well, for me, I get taxed already because when I go MC corporate gig, I do more corporate gigs and I get taxed for the corporate gig anyway. So, for the other MCs who are not being taxed, the wedding MCs that go, now you're gonna feel what I feel. Sometimes I actually will give my bill and then the money will come and then the deduction. I ask, but why? Experience it too. Oforiatta welcomes Ghana's selection to host CVF Secretariat. CSOs applaud Afarinik and Kokobod on cocoa rehab feat. Radio Ada journalist on trial over publication of fake news about McDan is dead. Oh wow. French classes for 2000 commences to serve French-speaking tourists better, says Dr. Awal. The New Crusading Guy newspaper is the next one. Anger in Ekropong over deplorable state of MPs recently rehabilitated and commissioned clinic. Government commences training for 2,000 hospitality staff in French language. Groundbreaking book on chronic pain launched. Banner headline reads, Ghanaians dare Vomawo to produce alleged $1 million bribery audio. And social media goes wild as NSO Bempa clashes with Donyina Jiabo. Kweku Azar waits in. Okay. The Daily Statesman newspaper, Gabi, economic integration guarantees Africa's peace, prosperity. Ama Kofi Boa contradicts himself over Elembele Road project. Redirect investment to Africa, Akufo-Addo urges global Africans. Baka Vomawo, dead over alleged $1 million bribery audio. And Fixing the Country movement calls for expedited action on Airbus scandal. The final newspaper is the Ghanaian Feed newspaper. Ghanaian Feed. The course rehabilitated clinic in bad shape sparks anger in Ekropong. Samia Uku supports traders in Ekwapim North and no wrongdoing in GNPC. Lisako Phase 2 financing. Energy Minister hints back at JJ and minority. That will be all for what the newspapers have. My guests are already seated and poised for the conversation. The general question out there this morning will have to do with Honorable Alan Kojo-Kyerematen addressing the nation. We don't know what he has to say. We might guess. So I'll just ask my guests to pick wild guesses, then we delve into our topics. Manasseh, what do you think he'll be saying?
Rosen, a very good morning to you, a very good morning to my brother Philemon, and a very good morning to our cherished viewers. I mean, on the issue of Honorable Alan Kyerematen speaking today, I would like to be reserved. I'm not too sure what's in his mind, and so I would keep mute. We all await the big announcement he would make today so that we can begin the conversations from there, please.
Okay, but we heard something last week that he was in talks with the CPP.
Yeah, so there's been lots of rumors. I mean, people are alluding that he might go independent. Others are saying he might join forces with other political parties. But until he speaks, it will only remain rumors. And so, left to me alone, I would wait. I would rather wait so that we'll all hear what he has to say today at 2 p.m. Yes.
Okay. What about you, Philemon?
Well, I can agree. We can only speculate. But I would encourage Alan because he's basically pulled out of the race because of his reservation about how the MPP is being run. Never has the MPP been run so badly ever in the history of this country. So he's withdrawn from the race out of principle. And one would expect that someone who's withdrawn from the race out of principle would take a principled stand. And a principled stand here would be to rebel against the system. rebelling against the system is running independently or partnering with some other political party. So I think there are just two options available for Alan, either to run as an independent candidate or to collaborate with another political party, because collectively, every opposition party in this country has one mission: to take out Addo and his government, take out the NPP for the gross corruption and nepotism that has been the bane of this government. So Alan has a duty, and we shall support him to come out of...
Do you want him to join the NDC?
Well, the NDC is an umbrella. Even we want you to join us. It's an umbrella.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know why anytime NDC people come here, they say I should join. Why?
No, that's because we're an umbrella. We
don't have the numbers.
We reflect
so
the shades of opinion. No, not that we don't have the numbers. We do. Actually, we reflect the shades of opinion. Everyone matters. Unlike some other political party that only are looking out for, But for us, we want everyone.
Anyway,
everyone
we delve into our topics this morning. Occupy Julorbi House protest took place from Thursday and ended on Saturday. There was supposed to be an injunction on there, but the protesters claimed they'd never received any kind of injunction, hence they went on the streets. On Thursday, it was a little chaotic. Some of them were arrested. Some claimed they were manhandled, but the police came out to say nobody was manhandled. One BBC reporter was actually one of the persons that was arrested. He's spoken a little bit about it. He hasn't gone into details. Hopefully, we'll get to get to the bottom of that particular one. But then the police also came out yesterday to release a statement apologizing to the kind of inconvenience the protesters caused. Now, most of the persons that they apologized to were not the protesters that they arrested, but rather to the people that had to stay in traffic for hours. They apologized, and some of the things that they said in the apology, I won't read everything. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tackle just one or two. It said, following the end of the 3-day demonstration by the above-mentioned group, the police would like to express gratitude to members of the public, especially those in Accra, for their support and understanding while we work within our mandate to maintain law and order during the demonstration. The police would like to apologize to members of public who were inconvenienced in one way or the other, especially those who were caught up in vehicular hold-ups during demonstration. Manasseh Atabuahin, your take on police apology. Your take, let's actually take your take on the whole Occupy Julorbi House protest.
Rosalind, many thanks. I mean, it has to be established that our constitution allows everyone, you can even be just one person, you have the right to demonstrate. Just that you have to ensure it is peaceful and that demonstration does not create fear and panic, or it does not affect the public sanctity or protection as we have it. And so we in government do support protests. However, when you check the chronology of events, you realize that there were lots of engagement between the Ghana Police Service and the group that embarked on the demonstration. At a point, the Ghana Police Service intimated that the very place the group wants to go, which is the Jubilee House, is a security installation. And so it makes it difficult for the police to guarantee the safety and the public order of the place. And so there were some back and forth between the Ghana Police Service and the group. At the point, the police suggested that the group changes the location or the route. They didn't, and so the police had to take the matter to court, and the court, served the lawyers of the group whatever, an application or whatever they say it, and I'm sure my brother will correct me. But the group was saying they never received it. The Ghana Police Service is saying they were able to serve the group or their lawyers, and the group is also denying that. But albeit it's important for everyone, once you feel aggrieved, you have the right to demonstrate. But the police also has a duty to ensure that your demonstration do not create problem for the populace. The kind of inconvenience that most Ghanaians, especially those of us in Accra, went through was uncalled for. On Thursday and on Friday and even on Saturday, the kind of vehicular hold-up or traffic that occurred, you find these demonstrators blocking roads, and it was so terrible. Terrible, in fact, from Shiashi or even Opebia through to the 37 area, everywhere. It was so bad. I myself had a fair share of it on Friday because I had to travel, and it was terrible, coupled with the rains. I mean, but it's important. On Thursday, we also what happened. The police, there were some issues with the police, and I will not sit here and praise incidences where people are being manhandled when they are demonstrating. We've had issues in the past. In September 2015, we also demonstrated. You remember at the EC's head office, and we were beaten brutally.
Who beat you?
The police.
Because of what?
Because we were demonstrating. At that time, we had issues with the EC, the voter register.
And the police beat you?
Of course. As at that time, even the EC's office was being tagged as a security zone, which is true. How much more the Jubilee House? And so
but the police
it is.
Didn't put an injunction on you, did they? Just a
They didn't. So you see the difference. Even with ours, there was no injunction. But because we were demonstrating at the EC's office, we had issues with the police and most of our people. In fact, till today, we have a gentleman who lost his eye, and in the end, he had to die. He's gone. And so, yes, and so for me, when I hear of incidences where people are demonstrating and because of one issue or the other, they have clashes with the police, it's something I do not wish for. And I also saw footages of some of these demonstrators trying to force their way into the police stations as if they were having a mortal combat with the police service. And the police, of course, cannot sit down.
Force their way into?
Yes.
Into the station?
Into the station.
Oh wow! I wish I
yes,
had
because some of their people.
Footage?
Of course, I can find you because some of their people were probably apprehended or arrested.
Okay, because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so for me, it's good that the Ghana Police Service, put out a statement, to
but they didn't talk about that.
Oh, they mentioned
they
mentioned the excesses as well. That's for individuals who were inconvenienced. I mean, they've apologized for that. The Ghana Police Service also denied that they did not manhandle anyone, and so if there is any evidence to that effect, then people are free to do that. I saw a video, just as you mentioned. I saw a video of people fighting their way into the police service, and of course, if you are into the police station, and no matter who you are, if you want to force your way into, a police station like that, you cannot expect the police to sit back, watch you to enter the police station and go and do whatever you like. And so I believe the statement by the Ghana Police Service is a right one, and also to apologize for many of us who were inconvenienced by the act of these demonstrators and by those who were blocking the roads and all of that. It was a terrible experience. I mean, from Thursday to Saturday, and I had most of my friends, even NDC people, who were even crying because they were stuck in traffic. Okay. And left to them alone, these things wouldn't have happened. I have mentioned that we all have the right to demonstrate, but you do not necessarily have to hit the streets and create inconvenience for people. What are the core issues these people are demonstrating on? And you realize that for everything, they mention roads and other things, and these are the very things government is working assiduously towards ensuring we are able to achieve this. Even during COVID, even in these times of economic difficulties, you find everywhere in the country that road projects are ongoing. Government has been very deliberate in ensuring that we are able to fix the roads.
Okay.
So that going forward, it will be very easy for people to commute. And so, for me, I do not find any better reason beyond what government is doing to cause people to hit the streets to demonstrate in this regard, to create a lot of inconvenience for themselves and the rest of us here.
All right, Manasseh, thank you. Philemon?
Yes, good morning to our listeners and viewers all across the country. First of all, I think that it's important to correct a fact. There's a vast difference between this particular demonstration and what he alludes to in 2015. Let me read to you a report by Reuters on the demonstration of the NPP against the EC in 2015. It says, and this from a statement from Cephas Arthur. I'm sure you all remember the popular Cephas Arthur, who used to be the spokesperson of the police service. At least 30 people, including members of the opposition NPP, were detained briefly for violating a court injunction that barred the marchers from entering the offices of the EC. From entering the offices of the EC and not the premises of the EC. And also there was an injunction, a court injunction, which is different from this particular scenario. In this scenario, there was no court injunction.
There was a court injunction.
There was no court injunction.
How do you say that?
The police applied. They got an order to serve the protesters. Now, Oliver has come out publicly to state that Akufo and Associates are not their lawyers.
Okay.
You'd remember.
So it could be that there was an injunction, but they served it to the wrong lawyers.
Let me make a point.
Okay.
The point is that you remember that recently an 18-year-old girl sued the EC. They tried to serve the EC and did not get the EC. It took the lawyers of the EC to write to state that the EC and her deputies had waived their right of personal service and authorizing that the service be effected on their lawyers. You remember that? So service of court processes must be personal.
Okay.
So not until you have served me and I am aware of what the action is, you cannot stop me.
Okay.
You cannot. So that did not happen in the case. So there's a vast difference between the demonstration of 2015 that he talks about and this one. This one is an organic demonstration by the people. It doesn't reflect any political interest. At least there was no NDC there. There was no MPP there. There was no CPP. It was the people. In 2015, it was an MPP demonstration pursuing a partisan interest. These are common people who have come out to say that we are tired of the nepotism of this government. We are tired of the corruption. We are tired of the economic mess you have tended. We'll come into the debt we have incurred since April 2015 up to now. We are tired of all of these things. Look at the interest rates. People cannot even do businesses. Look at the foreign exchange. Importers are suffering. Look at the prices of cars. So these are the issues among several others that the people of Ghana rose up to demonstrate against the government. He talks about them making roads, doing roads and all of that. Just recently I saw a video, and I'm sure everyone here saw the video of the Vice President's convoy getting stuck on a road in Ashanti region. A government that would boast of a big record on roads should not have the Vice President's convoy stuck in some road somewhere. That reflects the shoddy work that this government is doing. That reflects the fact that this government is only concerned about filling their pockets, like what's happening in the case of Cecilia Dapa. We are seeing the indices on corruption.
Well, we are yet to conclude on Cecilia Dapa.
Well, but so far, everything points to the fact that Cecilia Dapa has some bit of complicity.
No,
because prima facie, you can conclude that, hey, Cecilia, something is wrong. Because if your brother, who was a shoemaker in Kumasi, is dead, then suddenly we are getting so much money from an account of that brother. That's going to raise questions.
But until proven guilty.
Yes, but I'm saying prima facie, it shows that things are not very well.
Okay.
And that corruption is good. We all know about nepotism. But you see, the fundamental right to demonstrate is guaranteed. And I think it's important that we call out the police service and all those who instruct the police service. The brutality on citizens is one too many. In 2019, me and a group of law students decided to protest. We got everything done meticulously and right. We had permission from the police. Not permission even. We asked them to come and guide us, not permission. We're demonstrating, got to Sankara when the police unleashed the might of the state on us. Innocent law students. You remember that incident? We're beaten, we're shot at with rubber bullets.
I remember very well.
We're sprayed with gushing hot, uncomfortable water. And yet, this government was quiet. The NDC tried going to the Flagstaff House in our last demonstration. Again, the brute force of the Ghana Police Service was unleashed on us and on innocent citizens of this country. Another instance. So the point I'm basically making is that, and now Oliver's demonstration also comes to add up to the number. It's important for us to remember that under Article 203 of the Constitution, the Vice President has a responsibility over the Police Council. And when you read Article 207(2), it says that the Police Council, which is chaired by the Vice President, has the power to administer control and administration of the police service. It also has the authority and power of command of officers and men of the Ghana Police Service.
So are you blaming it on the Vice President?
I am putting it at the doorsteps of the Vice President, who is the chairman of the Police Council. A Vice President who, under his watch, has witnessed the brutal unleashment of force.
What about
violence,
the statement
brutality
from the police saying that nobody was manhandled?
But we all know that this Ghana Police Service has lost a lot of credibility. They come with a statement that says that they didn't do something when the court of public opinion saw it feely. We all saw them beating people. Here he is saying that he didn't see that. And that who would go and hand himself over to the police and say, arrest me? Who would do that? Who in his right sense would do that? But yet he says that protesters were saying, oh, we are here pushing ourselves into police. Nobody did that. I monitored this demonstration as part of a team of lawyers that volunteered our time, energy, resources to free arrested people out of police custody. This police service has lost credibility.
How difficult was
under the command and direct supervision of Vice President Bawumia.
How difficult was it to free the persons that were arrested?
The police were utterly unreasonable.
What
in our
happened?
engagement with the police, they were. I mean, how would a lawyer come to secure bail for a client and tell me that my commander is not around? So because my commander is not around, I can't even work with. I can't even talk to you. That's how bad the police service has become. Just a few people were released on the first day. Some of them slept over for expressing their rights against the government. This could happen to you, Rosalind. Tomorrow, you may be offended by the obscene happenings in this government and choose to have your voice heard. You choose to go out in the street, and lo and behold, you'll be arrested and put behind bars.
Well,
when
I saw
I
it happen
graciously
to my
come to
colleague,
support
though.
you and take you out.
I saw it happen to a colleague of ours.
Even the BBC
Bridget Otu was the one person who was, her dress was ripped, and I'm just wondering how her dress got ripped if nobody was manhandled.
And now these are journalists. A journalist who was there to cover. And you see how she was actually pushed, like they were baiting her, pushed inside. So I mean, this is the police service we must all condemn. And I think that it reflects the deficit in the leadership of the Vice President over the police council.
But the question here is, why did they gather at the police, office, head office? What were they doing there? Why couldn't they protest somewhere else? Did they have to be there?
No, they went there because they massed up there because their people were arrested.
Okay.
Their people, they only massed up there. That was
Okay.
not even part of the demonstration. We have no business going to demonstrate at the police service. But you see, all of this goes into the fact that rights are being repressed under this government. Any opportunity to talk against this government, you'll be targeted. Do you not remember what happened to Manasseh, your colleague journalist here of Joy FM? Several examples, Anas. Several people have been targeted. People in their various offices, because they are being NDC, are being targeted by this government. So there's a general suppression of rights of the individual.
Is it targeted
and
because
will
they are...
remember that Akufo-Addo, under his leadership and under the so-called image of a human rights defender, has witnessed the denigration of human rights in this country.
Okay, Manasseh.
Rosalind, I am surprised at the submissions of my brother. I don't know why the NDC is so fixated on attacking the Vice President.
The fact is that
I'm startled.
The Vice President, not the chairman of the police council.
You have your turn. You have your turn.
It's a fact. Philemon, let him say what he has said,
that
please.
also is another display of ignorance. So you see, when you mention that because he is the chairman of the police council, he does not run the day-to-day affairs of the police.
Manasseh, will it
he
be
does not.
Manasseh, will it be okay?
It is the IGP who is in charge of that.
Will it be...
And so when you sit here and you say, oh, everything, they are scared of Dr. Bawumia, and it is clear.
Manasseh, will it be
That's
okay?
why they always mention his name.
I just want to ask you something. Will it be okay if any NDC person sits on TV and says, oh, NPP doesn't understand English? Will it be okay?
Please.
Because you use the word ignorance. So I just want
Isn't he?
No.
Isn't he?
Wait. I just want
and that's how government behaves. So.
Philemon, please.
The way he's talking, that's a reflection
Respect
of
yourself.
Philemon, please let me handle it.
Respect
Philemon,
yourself.
please.
Respect yourself.
We have sat here a few times where if somebody says a word that the other party is not happy about it, we retract it. Hence, we have to try as much as possible to stay away from certain words. I have been here with NDC, NPP. NPP has said, NDC said, we don't understand English, is an insult. So if the NPP person is saying ignorance, we ought to be able to not use such words.
Rosalind.
Because if it had come from the other party, you would have been upset and said you've been insulted.
Rosalind, I have no difficulty retracting.
Okay,
but
thank
he also
you.
has to be mindful of the fact that the Vice President, as the chairman of the Council of Police, does not run the day-to-day affairs of the Ghana Police Service. And so in the same vein, I can retract, I retract, I apologize. He also has to retract by not peddling such falsehood out there that it is the Vice President who runs the day-to-day administration of the police, and so when there are, extreme incidences like this, he has to be blamed.
Okay.
That's the fact.
No, but
because he's not.
Okay.
I get the point that you're making. He does not run the day-to-day affairs. Perfect. And subtly, so the NDC is peddling these lies, to create such bad impression and to impugn negativity on the integrity of the Vice President. Which is not the case. He does not run, he's not the IGP. The Vice President is not the IGP. He is not in charge of police deployment.
But he's
whatsoever.
He's a chairman.
Please, there is a difference and their roles
Just let
are
them
clear. The vice president
Yes.
cannot in any way influence the IGP as to which
What to
police
do.
people should be
Right.
deployed on the ground. That's why when these lies are peddled, we cannot take it but to put out the facts out there.
Right.
That is it.
No, please
And-
let him.
and
You
please,
come in.
it is not-
You come in. You can write it down. So when it's your turn, you just say, please, Manasseh, sorry.
I also do not know why the NDC again is so fixated, in going to the seat of government to demonstrate. You can have your peaceful demonstrations. The fact that you enter Jubilee House to demonstrate doesn't mean, you would have solutions or you would have what you seek for. Sometimes it puts their intents in doubt as to why they are so fixated in entering security zones. I'm baffled. You don't necessarily have to enter Jubilee House just to. You can. There are various ways of having demonstrations. And when you find groups of people trying to demonstrate and the police over and again is making the point that, of course, you don't need permission from the police. You just have to notify them. But the police also has a duty to ensure that they are able to protect you and you do not create problem for the environs, people around where you want to demonstrate. And so if the police is making a point that this is a security installation and so you cannot enter the place to demonstrate, and you find these same people creating problems. And I'm surprised at what my brother said. I also watched videos. I followed keenly what happened. And there were videos of people fighting with the police, man to man. Like that. Yes. At the police station. It happened. He's one person. If he is on there, he cannot be everywhere. But for those of us who sat behind our televisions, we were able to see a lot of things he would not see.
You're actually the first person saying what you're saying, because everybody or every news portal is reporting that people were arrested. Even the police said it.
I'm not
but we haven't seen, nobody has said that, the citizens or the protesters that went out there fought the police.
No, Rosie, you are getting me wrong. I am not saying citizens for. What I'm saying is that following from the arrest of some people, we had few people at the police station who engaged in some fisticuffs with the Ghana Police Service.
Okay.
They engaged in some fisticuffs, with them. And that's what I'm not saying when they were protesting, there were fights. Yes, but I'm saying and there are videos out there on social media everywhere where some few people engaged in blows with the police service because they were trying to enter the police station. I am saying that we all have our rights to demonstrate. I have demonstrated before. We have demonstrated before. And so I do not like it when we find incidences where people are demonstrating and there are, challenges like this. When tear gas is being disarmed, it is very dangerous. Even the water cannons. And so left to me alone, we wouldn't even have incidences like this. But when the very people who are protecting you on the day of your demonstration, which is the Ghana Police Service, when you begin to engage in this kind of fisticuffs with them, then you make their work quite difficult for them to protect you, and that's what I'm saying.
Right. Yes, you want to say
I think
something?
it's important that we are decorous in the way we speak. I would have expected that a government that has been pushed to the wall this much would be very sound in rallying people around and comforting people for the excesses that they are suffering. But I'm surprised. My brother would choose to use that word on me. But let me go on the record, and this is a fact. The fact is that when you look at Article 203 of the Constitution, Article 203, you can check. Clause 3. Regulations made under Clause 2 above of this article shall include regulations in respect of A, control and administration of the Ghana Police Service, and D, the authority and powers of command of officers and men of the police service. Come above. What is the composition of the Ghana Police Council? The Vice President is the chairperson. The IGP is there. Others from the Ghana Bar Association. Here's it. 203.
Before we go to 203, we have to get to know who is responsible for these things?
The vice president chairs the police council.
Yes, the vice president, but they didn't say here that the chairperson is responsible for deployment. Please.
I'm saying that, Rosalind, I'm saying that the vice president is a chairperson of the police council. The police council has a responsibility towards the people of Ghana and towards regulating how the police should operate. So I tell him, as chairperson of the police council, we should absolve the vice president of any liability because the police council has failed in providing regulations that affect command and authority of police, such that someone can sit somewhere, give an order, and the people are beaten, and tell him the vice president should absolve the responsibility.
Okay, so Philemon, if I may know,
let me make. He's had a lot of time to make a point.
No, I'm just asking a question.
You make a point. Oh, you're going to talk.
Don't worry. Don't worry. It's not him speaking. It's me.
Okay.
So it's just you and I. Okay, don't worry. He's not coming in. So the question here is that when you go to the forces, there are command or hierarchies of giving, orders. Of course, a chairman doesn't give an order. The orders come from direct bosses.
The point I'm making is that the chain of command is determined by the police council. You get the point? The police by themselves don't sit down and say, IGP reports to this or this person reports to that. There's a chain of command which is made as a result of a CI, a constitutional instrument that the police council will take to parliament. The police council is headed by the vice president. So if the Ghana Police Service is not functioning properly, the police council has a supervisory responsibility over the Ghana Police Service. So there's a distinction between the Ghana Police Service and the Ghana Police Council. And the point I'm making is that the police council supervises the work of the Ghana Police Service. And the vice president is the chairperson of the Ghana Police Council.
So in his supervisory...
under Article 2, yes, and they are also supposed to make regulations that affect the command structure of the Ghana Police Service, and also look at policies of administration of the Ghana Police Service. That is the responsibility of the Ghana Police Council. And this is sacrosanct. It's a fact.
So, but he doesn't command, does he?
He is the chairperson of the council, and they give orders to the Ghana Police Service. They give policies of administration to the Ghana Police Service.
Okay, so they give policies.
Yes, they guide the Ghana Police Service on how to go about their command and operation structure. That's the duty of the police council.
Okay.
So if you can project Article 203 of the Constitution,
no, but they don't command.
I'm telling you that.
No, you see, I want the people at home to understand the difference.
The Ghana Police Service is under the Ghana Police Council. The Ghana Police Council provides supervisory and administrative responsibility over the Ghana Police Service. So Baumia, as chairperson of the Police Council, has the responsibility to ensure that the Ghana Police Service functions properly. And that's a fact. And I'm reading it to you.
Responsibility to ensure, not command. Because there's somebody who is commanding. Oh, no, Philemon, I just want us to understand. There is somebody commanding, but there's somebody who has the responsibility to ensure. That is it, right? So the head is to be blamed because the head is supposed to make sure that the person to command doesn't give certain commands. Is that what it is?
The point I'm making is that the Ghana Police Council makes regulations, which includes regulations in respect of the control and administration of the Ghana Police Service. The Police Council makes orders relative to control and administration of the police service. The Police Council is headed by the Vice President. He leads the charge. He leads the government's efforts towards ensuring that there's control and administration in the Ghana Police Service. They also go on to say that they have the authority and powers of command of officers and men of the police service. Law.
I'm not saying it's not law.
So that's the point.
I'm saying that we'll definitely get to the bottom of it, but I understand where you're coming from.
That's the point.
Okay.
So it's important. We cannot absorb the vice president of blame. It has become one too many. It happened to law students. He has been a student. Even students are beaten because they want to express their opinion against the government. How intolerant can a government become? How intolerant can a government become? So that's the point.
Okay. All right. So can we move on to
No, I was just responding to you. Now I'm going to make my point.
Okay.
So it is not the case that demonstrators were blocking routes. Never. Not once in the history of this country has the Ghana Police Service exercised this level of brute force against the people of this country. Who says that the Jubilee House is a security zone? Security zone does not mean the people cannot go to the Jubilee House. We own that house as a people. This house belongs to the people of Ghana more than it belongs to Nana-Addo or any member of this MPP.
Philemon, if you don't mind me asking you this, you know, we are all citizens of Ghana, and I like the fact that you're saying that the Jubilee House belongs to all of us, but as well, we are guided by rules and regulations
Absolutely.
as citizens.
The point I'm making
and you
is that
being a lawyer, you know that, you know, as citizens, if you've been told to don't do A, you do not do A. Why do we provoke? And then afterwards, we are the same persons complaining.
Who has said you don't do A and then you do A? The point I'm making here is that look at democracies all over.
Who has said you don't do A?
Let me make my point.
Make your point, but the question you're asking.
Over and
Please
over
go
and
ahead.
Over. I haven't even made my
make your point.
You keep interjecting me. So the point I'm making is that presidential residences in most democracies are open to the people. Even the White House of America, people are able to protest at the precincts. When we say we are going to the Jubilee House, we're not saying we're entering Nana-Addo's office. That's not what we are saying. We say we want to go to the precincts of the presidency and submit a petition. And any government that is willing to listen should allow this. It's very simple, isn't it? In 2014, do you remember there was something called Occupy Flagstaff House? Mm-hmm. Do you know they were at Afrikiko? The protesters moved up to Afrikiko under the NDC government. The then Deputy Chief of Staff, Valerie Sowa, came out, met them, and took the petition. What happened? So why should this government unleash brute force just because we want to come? The people want to come to the Flagstaff House only to present a petition. The police service has a history of attracting bad press. If they had just allowed these protesters to go on, present their petition, what would have happened? Rose, have you thought about that? Just go, present your petition, they take it, and then perhaps act on it, or in their usual fashion, do nothing about it. But the Ghana Police Service, under authority of people in government, unleash this brute force, even on journalists. So the point we are making is that this government has a track record. They will go down in history as a government that has abused the rights of people. You even remember the days of Kumi Preko. Did they block traffic then or not? Kumi Preko, that Nana-Addo himself led, did they block traffic or not? But today, we have a government communicator say the demonstrators, you find these demonstrators blocking routes. Of course, they should block routes. That's a civic right. And when governments now begin to say, oh, the citizens are a nuisance, I mean, how intolerant can a government become? Citizens that are protesting are now a nuisance? Don't we know that demonstrations cause traffic? Doesn't the president himself, in using his convoy, cause traffic? So you think the president should cause traffic with his convoy, but people should not protest because the economy is bad. People should not protest because the cost of fuel is high. People should not protest because the cost of foodstuff are high. People should not protest because the exchange rate is unbearable. People should not protest because the interest rate, people cannot even go for loans to start businesses. People should not protest because of the high unemployment rate in this country. Is that what they are saying? So these are the germane issues that have characterized the reason why people should demonstrate.
No, the protest is right, though.
Should begin to listen.
The protest is right. I mean, everybody who is not happy about something has a right to protest. So the protest, there's nothing wrong with the protest. But the question here, when the police released their statement, I asked the question of, what did they do that wasn't right that caused the traffic? Because if they had probably, worked with the protesters, probably the traffic wouldn't have been created. Manasseh.
Absolutely.
Yes, I mean, I'm not too sure what went into the blocking of the roads. And you see, if my brother sits here and says that the protesters didn't block road, then I'll be scandalized.
He didn't say that.
He didn't say that.
He said that.
No, he didn't.
And he even went ahead.
No, he didn't.
He said they should block roads because they can do this. Please. You see, Rosalind, whether we like it or not, I have mentioned, and it is not true for him to say that this government will go down in history as the government that is suppressing the rights of people to demonstrate. That is never true. That is never true. We've not forgotten what the NDC did during the times, even at TUC in 1995 or so, when they were shooting people and killing people. We've not forgotten all these things. We are peaceful people and we believe in democracy. And if you want to demonstrate, we will support you. Even the president will support you to demonstrate. But you just will have to do that within the confines of the law. And you see, when my brother sits here, he mentions that the Jubilee House is not a security zone. Then I'm surprised again. He himself mentioned that during their time, when the MPP was demonstrating, The farthest we could go was at Afrikiko. He sat here and he mentioned that. Did we enter the Jubilee House as at that time?
But I said the protesters don't want to enter.
I'm saying the protesters want to now changing this. He's now trying to.
The protesters want to get to the precincts of the house. I said we don't want to enter another house.
So you see,
no. He mentioned that when we were protesting in 2015,
there are two
we just got to Afrikiko.
Exactly, because you see, the issue here is to do with even Occupy Julorbi House. Does it mean that they were going to occupy the Jubilee House? Because that hashtag alone was a little worrying.
That is the intention. Who has the floor?
Wait, I'm asking this question. You come in, you have the floor, but it's just a question, though.
Look at Occupy, the name, the nomenclature of Occupy Flagstaff House. That happened in 2014. It didn't mean they were going to enter the Flagstaff House, and indeed they did not enter.
Okay.
But rather, they met them at the precincts.
Okay, all right.
Precincts of the Flagstaff House at Afrikiko.
Okay.
Which is just around the perimeter of the Flagstaff House.
Okay.
This time we don't even get the opportunity to get even in the Sankara bus stop that they beat students.
It's okay. Manasseh, your time, please.
Rosalind, you see, the right to demonstrate is very sacrosanct. And so, as government, we do appreciate and welcome people to even demonstrate, and we ensure that the police service is able to do their work independently. I can understand the frustrations of my brother trying to,
I'm not frustrated.
Struggling to impugn these little excesses on the vice president. But I come again and I maintain that the vice president is not in charge of police deployment. He does not call sergeants or corporal or whoever that you today be here and be there. It is not true. So whether we like it or not, when we are talking about these issues, of course, we cannot call out the Ghana Police Service. We in government, we are not happy when people are being brutalized, when they are demonstrating. And so when we are calling out the Ghana Police Service and those who manhandled people, if that is true, that's a fair call. But when consistently people try to force this on the throat of the vice president, as if he is the one who calls police that today I'm calling 10 people, some people are demonstrating, so you stand at this point, you stand at that. That is not the work of the vice president as the chairman of the police council.
But the vice president will have to call them to order, right? Because it looks like what happened on Thursday was completely unacceptable. Manasseh, let me say this because I have seen videos and I actually posted that what happened to Bridget Otu could have happened to me. What if I was asked to go and report and this happened to me? And so let's condemn where we have to condemn and commend where we have to commend.
Exactly what I'm doing. I am not singing praises.
That's a video of Bridget Otu, and we've seen it, and she came out actually. So this was, I think, the first attempt. There was a first attempt. We've seen a video of somebody, and Manasseh, I wish you watch this video. I'm watching. Please watch it. This video, look at what happened here. This is a Ghanaian who is unarmed and is being manhandled.
Innocent.
Rosalind, I am not singing the praises of the Ghana Police Service today.
You have a chairperson of the
and you know when you do it, take a look at it. You can't even record it. So they threaten you when they see the camera, and they poured water on the camera.
Yes.
Rosalind, I am not
seizing the gadgets of protesters.
Please. Manasseh, you were making your point.
I am not singing the praises of the Ghana Police Service for the excesses over there. I condemn it in no uncertain terms, just as the government and most people are doing. But what I am saying is that the work
we haven't seen the government condemn it yet.
Oh, we have lots of.
We haven't seen it yet.
Yesterday, I listened to most key people in government, and you see, the point has to be established, Rosalind, that when people are attacked during demonstration, it doesn't augur well for you and I. We will do all the noise and strugglings here and there, but at the end of the day, we are brothers and sisters. We live together. And so for me, I do not wish in any way, even water, I don't wish for water to be even sprayed on people when they are demonstrating. And so all these incidences over there is not something I will come and sit here and praise the police service for. I condemn them for these things. And let us also praise the Ghana Police Service for what happened on Friday. Because on Friday, the IGP came in and he had conversations with them. There were some few provocations here and there, but the police service did not discharge any water cannons and even tear gas or whatsoever. And so on Thursday, we all condemn.
Why should they have?
They shouldn't at all.
Because nothing happened for them to have discharged it.
On Thursday, I condemn, most people, all of us condemn what happened. When some people were being manhandled, we condemn that. But in that same vein, on Friday, we should commend the Ghana Police Service for the good job they did on Friday and even on Saturday.
That was their job. It's not good job. That is their job.
Of course.
What they did is not about good or bad. What they did on Thursday was bad. What they did on Friday is not about good or bad. This is their job and they did it. What happened on Thursday is completely unacceptable.
We'll take in some messages. I agree with you.
Some messages coming in. Good morning. Please, the NDC is never scared of Bawumia, as the MPP guy said. JDM is going to beat him hands down come 2024 from Richard Upper West region. Ghanaians have reposed confidence in the NPP government to protect the public purse and to serve the interests of the Ghanaian citizenry. What do we see today? Needless borrowing and mismanagement coupled with fiscal indiscipline. Above all, they have developed the penchant of perpetuating illegalities as far as this favors them. It's sad that police were sent to manhandle and brutalize citizens who were exercising their democratic rights to put this government on its feet. If ECOWAS is silent on this wicked government, they should not bother us when things get worse in this country. Daniel Akmaliok from Sandema. Daniel, we are hoping it doesn't get worse though. The conduct of the police during the Occupy Julorbi House demonstration under the watch of the IGP and the current president is, to say the least, shameful, barbaric and a mark of abuse of power. The police have clearly shown that they are unprofessional and, for that matter, not fit for the job they have been called to do. The brutalities and that this government has, okay, I think I'll have to read that later. Good morning to you. We've vehemently complained about how bad or worse our economy is, and yet still no proactive measures are being taken to that effect. We always give a critical analysis of how we think the economy should be run, because some believe that the current state of the economy is on autopilot and what have you. My point is that we have higher academic institutions, that is professional institutions, that we can fall on for social economic measures to just turn the fortune of this falling economy with time, without not seeking for foreign brains elsewhere to help salvage our economic situation. Hashtag love, hashtag respect. Aaron Bebako Kokomisa. Alaji Hamza Pikfa, good morning, madam. With all due respect, applying for judge injunction does not mean an injunction. The Ghana police did apply, but the injunction was not yet approved by the court. In any case, mother, are you aware that the minority applied for an injunction to stop the e-levy, but it is over several months now, but the case has not been called yet, but the e-levy has been passed? What about that? Anyway, even there was an injunction on the limited registration exercise, right? But it still went ahead. Now we can talk about that attitude of the EC. This is a woman who has no respect for our democracy and rule of law, but no one comes out to condemn that. Let's be truthful to ourselves and speak the truth for once in this country. We are where we are today because of the arrogant posture of functionaries of this government. They always feel they know it all.
Absolutely.
Isaac Alai from Hohoi, Sweet Roslyn, good morning to you. Good morning, Enjoy Prime. This is Ghana. No protest, because if you do protest, meaning you're against the government, Ghana for you. Good morning, Joy Prime. The problem I'm having with the MPP man is that he doesn't know they demonstrate and go to Osu Castle in those days. Absolutely. Isaac Alai, Hohoi. All right. Absolutely. Thank you, Isaac. During 2009, killing of 5 NPP supporters at Anglo-Gloshi. I hope I got it right. Where was Agbogloshi? Agbogloshi, it was spelled like that. Where was former President Mahama, who was by then chairman of the police council? Tell Solomon to know better, from Ajenim Boating, Domipila 2. All right. Good morning. Please, when did Manasseh get to know that Jubilee House is now a security zone that a Ghanaian citizen cannot enter, but a place for a foreigner to enter to cast a video? What is happening in Ghana today is beyond NDC and any other political party. Does it mean that the police service today is more intelligent than the police at a time when Addo held series of demonstrations in this country? God is watching. Fred Sogakope. All right, you at home can also join the conversation, but let's move on to our next topic, and it happens to be our current state of debt. We all don't wish it to happen, but it's happening. Ghana's public debt is up by 6.3 billion Ghana cedis within the last 2 months to reach 575.5 billion in June 2023. Manasseh understands all of this and can help break it down. But then also, we are recording these figures because of the depreciation in the cities. Of course, we've seen the city not doing too well. Hence, when we go borrowing, it will affect us a lot. And it means the public purse will definitely be struggling and our debt will go up. Manasseh?
Yes, Rosalind. So this is a report from the Bank of Ghana, and they explain that our public debt has gone up by some 6.3 billion Ghana cedis, and this is so mainly because of our currency depreciation.
Yeah.
When there are fluctuations in our local currency as against the US dollar, you would realize that most often than not, our public debt would rise. This doesn't mean government has borrowed fresh debts. It simply means because our currency has lost some strength, we will have to pay more in terms of servicing our external debt, and this explains the reasons for the depreciation of our local currency. Now, government is very keen in ensuring that going forward, the little stability we have gained as it relates to our cedi would be sustained for a period. I mean, in this year, in January, we had some huge depreciation, but from February up until this time, we had some depreciation in about 3 months. In April, we had stability or appreciation, and there's been marginal depreciation over the months in this year. And government is confident that going forward, given the measures we have put in place as it relates to even our good for oil policy and some other interventions, we'll be able to experience more significant gains in the stability of the currency. Because you see, when our currency depreciates, it affects everything. It affects fuel prices, it affects even the cost of food and everything. And that's why government has been deliberate enough to ensure that we have more of our factories working, to ensure that we are able to support our factories so that this perennial challenge of cedi depreciation will be brought to an end. I mean, we can have some short-term or medium-term, measures to shore up our local currency, but if we are not keen in implementing the long-term measures, which basically has to do with industrialization and ensuring we have more local production and local content, if we are unable to do this, we'll be able to have some few dollars like we are having from the IMF to shore up our reserves and our local currency, but the currency will still depreciate. And so government is focused in ensuring that we are able to limit our high volumes of importation. And we are also keen in our industrialization agenda to ensure that going forward, we would reduce our volumes of imports. I mean, if you would recall, just recently, government launched the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2, and key amongst them had to do with the drive to ensure food resilience. And when you look at what is happening, even in our neighboring countries, you realize that we do import a lot of food staples. And so when there are challenges in some African countries, it tends to affect us the more. Recently, we saw the case of Niger, where we had most of our vehicles stuck across the borders because we were unable to even import onions, just onions. And so government has been deliberate in ensuring that we would engage in commercial farming, and we are causing the private sector to lead this massive drive to ensure that even chiefs are able to release more lands to their subjects to embark on massive agricultural production, so that for the very least, incidences of food inflation would come down. When you check the inflation basket, inflation which has dropped from 43.1 to around 40.1%, you realize that the component of food inflation dropped significantly. Same for the exported inflation. And so government is very conscious. We are very conscious in ensuring that we are able to leverage what we have to grow more of our food staples, so that incidences of inflation would drive down. And if you're able to do that, we would also get some respite as it comes to our currency depreciating far and wide. And so we are conscious. Because whether we like it or not, if we are unable to grow what we eat and eat what we grow, we would continue to have incidences of this nature. Over the years, we've had lots of challenges as it relates to our currency depreciation. And when you look at the structure of our Ghanaian economy, we have explained over and over again that we are highly import dependent. And so when we came into power in 2017, we were very deliberate with the industrialization agenda, the one district, one factory. There were lots of factories that were more or less dead. And so government has been able to support them so that they'll be able to, revamp their operations.
Manasseh, as we are speaking, the city has depreciated. So if all of these things have been done, why are we still seeing depreciation?
So the point I'm trying to make is that for the city to be stable for a long period, we need long-term solutions.
Okay.
And the long-term solutions lies in our industrialization agenda, so that we'll be able to reduce the high volumes of importation.
But this is a case whereby you've been in power for 70 years.
Yes, and I'm mentioning that we've been able to make some respite. Don't forget that even in 2019, 2020, the cedi was adjudged the best performing currency against the US dollar. It was only in 2021-22 that we saw some huge depreciation of the Ghana cedi, and not only the cedi alone, but other currencies across the world because of the externalities. We realized that there were other currencies across. Of course, we were heavily hit. Yes. There's no denying the fact. And so I'm mentioning that for us to make gains in our local currency, it's very important for attention to be paid to our industrialization drive, and government is working assiduously towards achieving this. I mean, in this month, we realize that we've had some stability. That's not what we want anyway, but there's been some stability, which makes it easy for business people to do their projections and predictions.
When it comes to business, yesterday I was having a conversation with a businessman, and he told me he had lost 90 million in a year due to cedi depreciation. So if any businessman hears you say this one, they'll attack us this morning.
What I was saying is that when you have some stability for a period, it makes it easier to even make projections and to prepare. When there are intermittent fluctuations in the currency, it makes it difficult to even project. So, for example, you want to import your wares or your goods to come and sell. At that point, the cedi stands at a certain rate as against the US dollar. Then in a day or two, you realize there are changes. By the time you bring your stuff, everything is gone.
Why are we still clearing in dollars? Why? What is the reason?
I mean,
you are the government spokesperson on economy, so it's economy, right? Or yours is what?
Rosemary, I've been with you for a long time. It's like you want to laugh at
No, I have to find out, because I'm still wondering why we are still clearing in dollars when we don't spend dollars in Ghana.
Rosemary, see, the clearing in dollars has its own ramifications. It has the good side and the bad side. When you have instability of our local currency and you find a lot of people importing, most of which items are being priced in dollars, it's only proper for the government to cost them in the same amount, because the moment you cost in cedis, when you cost in cedis, when you charge the import bills in cedis and there are depreciation in our local currency, the nation will run at a loss.
But you then strengthen your cedi, because you are not charging in dollars. Because I'm looking at certain places that we have to use dollars wherever we go, and you ask yourself, even some schools in Ghana are charging dollars. You go to hotel, you are paying in dollars, yet your currency is in cedis. Really? You know, when I go to Dubai, I'll use Dubai as an example. As of I think 2016, our currency was at par with Dubai. If you go and you are changing one cedi, is 1 dirham. Currently, it is not like that. Yet, if you have dollars and you are going to take anything, buy from the shop, they will take the dollar, but they'll give you in dirham. And it has strengthened their currency. Can't we do the same in Ghana?
Rosalind, I'm maintaining that when it comes to pricing issues, I mean, there are laws, strict laws, that prohibits people from doing business in dollars. And this is under the remit of some state institutions to monitor and to ensure that going forward, schools and other institutions pricing in dollars do not happen. So it has to do with monitoring. Now,
but these same people, I'm sorry to cut you, these same people you are talking about go to hotels and sleep and pay dollars. If you go to Lancaster, it's the dollar. If you go to Alisa Hotel, it's dollar. Are you saying that they don't patronize and they don't know that it's in dollars?
What I'm saying is that we can call the state institutions responsible for this monitoring to be up and doing in delivering on their mandate. Because the laws are clear in Ghana that you cannot run a hotel in Ghana and price in dollars. And so if there are some state institutions, of course, certainly there will be anomalies in the way government is being run. There will be some few challenges, and so it's only proper for the attention to be drawn for the institutions mandated to ensure that businesses do not price in dollars are being targeted and brought to book. This is a first submission. It is true. It is very true, and we also pick signals, and most often you find most of the state institutions moving into these hotels and other businesses to bring them to book, and so it's proper for us to continue to raise these issues so that we don't have more of these incidents.
All right, thank you, Manasseh. Philemon.
Yes, Rosalind, let me start by just responding to a few points he made that are not correct. He said that the reason for the depreciation is because of the currency fluctuation, and that's why, not that we have directly borrowed. That is not true. It is because this government has borrowed and continues to borrow, even against advice from the minority. Ghanaians have called out this government to stop borrowing, and the government is on a borrowing spree. Let me remind him. In May this year, 3rd May 2023, Parliament met and approved 7 loan agreements. Do you recall? 7 loan agreements. There was a 150 million financing agreement between the government of Ghana and the World Bank. 150 million. There was also a $170 million loan. Have we forgotten of IMF? It's not just 2 months ago that the IMF thing came, where we got 3 billion and 600 million was paid upfront. So it is not true that the reason for the depreciation and the debt deficits of Ghana is because of the exchange. It is not true. It is because this government is still borrowing. Don't throw that in the eyes of the public. But
if we don't borrow, how do we run the economy?
We'll come to whether or not they should borrow.
Okay.
But the fact is that what he said is untrue. That the reason for the debt is because of the exchange rate. It is not true. But it is because the government is borrowing. And any government that is not innovative enough to find means of generating revenue internally will only resort to borrowing. We heard what they said. They said that it's only an unwise person that would keep on borrowing, that anybody can borrow and lead the country. We heard Eslousu. If it were just about borrowing, her 17-year-old son would borrow and lead Ghana. Today, borrowing is the order of the day. I'm surprised he also is talking about industrialization in the 7th year of government. We have always said that this MPP government is all about sloganeering. We've heard about one district, one factory. If indeed 1D, 1F was working, then the stakes of industrialization should have been increased by now. By now, we should have been relying on locally produced things. But today, we still import toothpicks. If 7 years, you have said that you are going to ensure that there's industrialization and basic things like toilet roll, like toothpicks, and even cassava, gari, is imported into Ghana. It reflects the failure of this government. It reflects the monumental failure of this government. It reflects the fact that this government is unable, they have lost control of the governance of this country. Our economy is galloping. Inflation, galloping. Exchange rate, the same. So I think that this government has, over the period, shown us that they've lost track in managing the affairs of this country. All they know is to borrow. All they know is to borrow. They keep borrowing, and yet we don't even see what the money is being done.
That was what I was going to ask you. The borrowing has a reason, doesn't it?
It's supposed to have a reason. That's what I would say. I would say it's supposed to have a reason. And if you keep borrowing, the only logical conclusion would be that you are unable to generate resources. That's the only reason. Because people go for loans because they have no money. People go for loans because they need to invest, so they go for the loans. So if the Ghana government is telling us that despite e-levy, despite all of the taxation regime in Ghana, even better, they are taxing better. Even better, they are taxing. But so despite the excessive tax regime that this government has introduced, they have also borrowed the most.
Can we clear the tax, on betting? It is not that when you're going to bet, that is when you win.
Yeah, but that's still a problem.
Okay. No, but I'm just letting them know.
So there's tax on bet winnings.
Okay.
So that is betting, basically. Exactly. So when you bet and win, the government taxes.
But if you don't win.
But the point is that even e-levy, that they said was going to be the savior for all our economic problems, they implemented e-levy, and what happened? Eggs were thrown in their faces.
But when you go to the Western land, we want to be like them, don't we? There's tax on bet.
That's another matter. I'm situating this argument in the whole context of taxing. They have taxed this country dry. Don't you feel it?
No, I'm just asking.
You mentioned you went to Dubai. Let me make a point. You mentioned you went to Dubai. Compare the hotel rates in Dubai to the hotel rates you have in Ghana.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I know I'm appalled by it. And that's because hotels in Ghana have been taxed to death by this government. So when we talk about a failed government, this is a representation of a failed government, because everything, tell me one thing that is working in this country. Everything is a failure. On the law, on quoting things in the prices in foreign currency. He says that there's an advantage in quoting. He said it's a government that breaks the law, and because they are the ones in power, they think they will get away with it. There's accountability coming one day. How can a government still be quoting things in dollars when there's a law? The Foreign Exchange Act of 2006, Act 723, bars the quoting of any price in dollars. But yet this government sits aloof. Just like watching armed robbers go on rampage and do nothing about it, in the name of saying that, oh, it is the police that do it because I'm the president or I'm the minister, I don't have responsibility, let the police do it. That is the state at which we are. Because how can you tell me that the relevant state body is supposed to monitor? So if the relevant state body does not monitor, you at the Ministry of Information, or you at the presidency, or some other agent of government, you won't act on it. Nanado won't act. Bawumia, who is in Ghana now, that Nanado is out of the country, will not act. You get the point?
Now so this government. When you go to Bawumia, what do you say Bawumia?
Yeah, Bawumia because he's in government. He's the one. He's the acting president of Ghana. Nanado is not in Ghana.
But he's the president.
He's the acting president, and he's doing nothing about it.
But this thing has been happening for a long time.
But the point is that for 7 years, this government has presided over it and done nothing. That's the point I'm making.
I said it. But the way you work to Bawumia, it's like
Bawumia, he's the acting president. Nanado is in America right now. Bawumia acting president.
But this thing has
police are beating people, and Nanado hasn't said it, and Bawumia hasn't said anything. As acting president,
we all know that this
acting president, you have said nothing.
See, I don't know.
You are presiding over the unleashing of brutality on your citizens, and you are saying nothing as acting president.
We all know that, you know, he is the acting president, but it looks as if you have a personal vendetta with him.
Never.
So, because what we are saying,
I don't have a personal vendetta.
This whole thing,
I'm just calling out a vice president who is a representation of failure and incompetence. That's what I'm calling
the IGP.
I mean, we all know what happened with the police service prior to this. Look, I think that the police service has been compromised. It has been effectively compromised. We heard all of the confessions made by the police officers to the extent that these are party members. I am a card-bearing, proud member of the Dankwa Buza Dobo tradition, and then also your IGP, lobbying to become IGP and then perpetuate violence in elections. Those are the confessions. That's COP Mensa.
Oh, COP Mensa.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that the whole police setup.
But we are looking at an IGP who was a former bodyguard to, former President Atta Mills. May he so rest in peace.
Yes, but the point is that people change.
So he's changed.
I don't know, but I'm saying that his leadership now and the whole setup of the Ghana Police Service is questionable.
Okay.
And if we had an effective police council, they would have been acting. But a police council headed by Bawumia is sitting down aloof, and the police service is on rampage, denigrating, beating people.
Okay. Manasseh.
Roslyn, you see, I'm surprised when my brother mentioned that this government said that the e-levy is going to be the savior of all our problems. And sometimes I don't know if they find time to follow through with what government is doing and what government puts out there. Because government never mentioned, we never mentioned that the e-levy is going to be the panacea to all our problems. We mentioned that the e-levy will be used for two main things. One has to do with fixing our roads, and two has to do with job creation through the U-Start. And so you cannot sit here
to U-Start.
U-Start, as it stands now, we have a lot of youths who are undergoing training across the country, across the various districts of the country. And so you cannot sit here and lie.
So the government
said e-levy will be the solution to all our problems. Please. I mean, sometimes when we use certain words, you say we are being harsh, but we want to come clean with the conversations we have, to speak truth to the issues. Government never mentioned that e-levy is the solution to all our problems. That can't be. And so on the two issues, we are working assiduously on that. That's why we always say that when it comes to road, we have built more roads than any other government in the history of this country.
Okay.
And we continue to do more because we are able to.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
The government told Ghanaians that if e-levy is passed, we won't go to IMF. What does it mean?
Now, when you have the same minority, you see, sometimes the double standardness of the minority should be brought to question. Government puts up a policy, domestic revenue mobilization policy, and we've not forgotten how this policy was fought in Parliament. It took us 5 months.
You haven't
and you
answered
see,
my question,
we go on. And when you look at the negative effects the fisticuffs in Parliament created for the country, resulting in the credit rating downgrades, capital inflow reversals and all of that. As at the time we began the collection of these, we had no option than to draw our plan, our enhanced post-COVID program, to ensure that IMF is able to support us on a certain leg. And so you cannot find these same people who are fighting government when government seeks to put in place revenue mobilization measures, and now when things are bad, they come back to fight you that, now you've gone to IMF.
But I said, government came to the people of Ghana and said, we want to pass e-levy. E-levy bill is passed. We are cancelling road tolls and we want to go to IMF. What did it mean?
Rosalind, what I'm saying is that when you have the revenue bill that has been fought and it took about 5 to 6 months for this to be implemented, as at that time, things were bad already. And so we had no option than to go against our words to secure help from the IMF so that we'll be able to design our own program to bring us back to macroeconomic stability. And this IMF program, of course, is not the savior to our challenges. It's only helping us with the balance of payment support. The broader picture lies within what government is doing to ensure that on a broader scale, we are able to ensure sustainability with our industries and even with our local currency and the like. And so the point I'm making is that, yes, government mentioned, as at the time government mentioned we were bringing e-levy and we even took off the road tolls, things were not as bad as it were. But because of the delay and because of the negativity that the NDC propagated back then, it made it difficult for everyone, and the macroeconomic indicators were deteriorating pretty fast. And so it was important for government to go to IMF for just the balance of payment support so that we'll be able to design our own enhanced domestic program.
So now that we are at IMF, why do we still pay e-levy?
Rosalind, when you look at our revenue mobilization efforts, you would realize we have maintained over and over again that the revenue drive of this country is very low. And again, we have a lot of demands on government. Go to Parliament today, and every day you would find parliamentarians crying for roads to be constructed. You find parliamentarians crying that a lot of Ghanaians are unemployed, and so jobs have to be created. This government has created over 2 million jobs, and we seek to do more. And so we cannot, I'm not sure you agree with government. If the government is to tell you that, okay, today we are building a road in your area, but we don't have money, so let's wait. Maybe after a year or two, if we are able to raise more revenue, then we... Exactly, so our revenue do not match our expenditure.
I am being taxed for the loans government has gone for. And so government cannot tell me that you don't have money to construct roads.
Rosen, and I am mentioning that the demands on government far outweighs the revenue government is able to mobilize. That's how come we are still on this e-levy, and we are even borrowing, even support from the IMF. We have a lot of road projects ongoing. Last year, this year, we've had some loans approved, and they are ongoing. You see, government cannot wait. No one will accept it if government is to mention that, let us wait until we are able to mobilize more revenues before we meet our statutory demands, before we even pay salaries of workers. No one will accept that. And so to keep the government running, it's important for government to continue even with the collection of the e-levy and other revenue streams, so that loans, it would not be the case as it were during the NDC when they even cancelled the teacher and nursing training allowance. Because I have the floor. Can I have the table?
Please, let him finish.
Can I have the table? When you were attacking the vice president, that one wasn't pedestrian.
Very pedestrian.
Please, let me have the table.
1 point. In 1 minute, are you done?
No, I am saying that government has a lot doing. And in all of this, even during the external shocks of COVID and the war in Ukraine, especially during COVID, Even private school teachers who were home were being paid for 8 months.
They are still paying COVID
And
levy.
so,
Please let me
exactly,
come to Philemon then, because that money is, whenever I hear about it, I don't know, because I am paying COVID levy for monies that you paid to private teachers, and you are still telling me that you were cushioned.
Rosalind,
when I'm paying COVID levy today, anywhere I go to, I am paying COVID levy.
Rosalind, a lot was done, and the expenditure that government incurred is huge, and so we need money to pay these things, of course.
Yes, but so let's not make it seem as though government gave monies and never took it back. We are paying.
Rosalind, please, even in advanced countries, they were unable to do these things. You see, the point I want to make is that government wants to ensure that there is convenience for everyone. We are not like some other governments who will just throw in the towel that today we will not pay teacher and training allowance. When you work for 3 years, we will pay you 3 months. That's what we are talking about.
Which was not right at all.
Which was not right. And so we are not doing that. We are ensuring that in spite of all these difficulties, we are fixing the roads. We are paying government workers their salaries. You will not work for 3 years and government will pay you for 3 months. Who does that? And yet today they have the math and they are crying as if during their time they paid all their debts and they left the MPP government a clean sheet, clean balance in 2017.
The fact remains that under the NDC, the dollar was 4 cedis. Today it is 12 cedis. 4 cedis to 12 cedis. And this is what he claims as good governance. Under the NDC, interest rate was not this high. Under the NDC,
So wait, can we make analysis, please, just briefly, okay? NDC was from 2009, right?
Yes.
To 2016.
16. Yes.
Okay. And then made how much? It moved from 1 to what?
No, not
to 4.
Not from 1 to 4. It was about 2 point something to 4.
No.
When 2009.
When AU took over, when Atta Mills took over, it was 1.
Let me make a point.
Okay.
It was not 1.
It was what?
Akufo started because of the redomination. Oh, you can let your production team check it.
No, don't worry.
Check it out.
Say it.
Akufo's government, when we did the redenomination, it was now 1 cedi to $1.
Yeah.
By the course of President Akufo's presidency, it altered to about 2 cedis or so. Now the NDC handled that till we exited power, and it was how much? About 4 cedis. Oh. Today, let them check.
Okay, so you took power when it was 2 cedis.
Yes, about 2 cedis.
Okay. It wasn't 2 cedis, please.
So in 2009, it was 2 cedis. That's what you said.
Yes, okay. And we handed 4 cedis to the MPP.
Okay.
Today it is about 12 cedis.
I don't know why I remember so well
let's check it
that
out.
In 2009 it was.
When was the redenomination?
I don't know. It was done in 2008. Redenomination. When was it done?
It was during President Akufo's time.
Yes, but President Akufo was there in 2000
to 2008.
Yes.
Then NDC took over.
So NDC took over in 2008.
2009 January. So they did it in 2007, 1st July. It was effective from 1st July 2007.
Yes.
But even granted that it is even 1 cedi, granted.
It was.
Granted that it is 1 cedi.
It was.
1 cedi to 4 cedis, that's 3 cedis increment.
Yeah.
3 cedis. Now from 4 cedis to about 12 cedis, how much is that? In 7 years. If in 8 years, during the NDC's time, we managed from 1 cedi to 4 cedis. And then during MPP's time, from 4 cedis to about 12 cedis, how much? You see how bad they have managed the economy? You see how bad they have managed. So that's a fact. This government has been a monumental failure. Unemployment is high. If you say you have raised 2 million jobs, Ghana's population has not had any marginal increase to the extent that you can say because of 2 million jobs, there's still a deficit. There are still thousands of people out there, even millions, who are unemployed because of the failed policies of this government. Businesses cannot employ. The government itself has been stopped by IMF. They cannot employ. And you sit here and talk of a record of employment. Unemployment is high, excessively high. People cannot even do businesses. People don't have access to capital. People cannot even import. People cannot basically afford a cost of living. And you are proud of that. You say this is a government that has done well? Come on. In the NDC's time, things were not so bad to the extent that people would struggle to eat. Today, people struggle to eat. And my sister, let's be honest. Our salary is able to take us more than 1 week of the month. Things are excessively difficult. See fuel prices. Under the NDC, what was the cost of fuel? You heard during the protest, the Occupy Julorbi house, of protesters saying they used to buy fuel for 200 cedis. Now, in fact, it was one of your guys, AJ Sapong, who said she used to buy fuel for 200 cedis. Now she buys fuel for 800 cedis. It tells you how bad the economy has become. And you sit here and then talk about your government doing well. This is a government that has failed, and this is a government that we must reject in 2024. We are tired of this government. We are tired of the nepotism. We are tired of the corruption. We are tired of the inefficiency and incompetent government. We are tired of Nana-Addo. We are tired of Bawumia. They have failed, and we shall send them packing.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. My time is up, so we have to say a big thank you for making it here. I'll read a few messages and we can go. Good morning, madam. Please ask Manasseh, since when did the Jubilee House become a security zone after make Mills show or long before then? Okay. Good morning, Rosalind. The right to protest doesn't mean we should be lawless. Occupy Julorbi House, or what psychology does this put in the minds of the Jubilee House? When we were condensing the police, when we are condemning the police, that's what you want to say, we might be mindful of what these youth can do. Are these not the same youth who, when just celebrating their whole week, turn violent and destroy property of the university and even burn vehicles? These horrible incidences happened in Lagos, KNUST, and even secondary schools. Should the police stand aloof and allow them, under the guise of demonstration, throw pumps at the Jubilee House? Okay. Now I don't know if any pumps were thrown though. But I think, okay. Alaji Hamza Pig Farm, good morning. With all due respect, applying for a judge injunction. Okay, I think I've already done this one. I want to say a big thank you. Good morning, Rosalind. See how Manasseh is sweating to answer a simple question you asked. More lies to cover past lies. 2024 will be fire. All right. Thank you all for sending your messages. We are super grateful to those of you who could. And for those of you who couldn't, next time, please try as much as possible to share the news, let people know about it, and also share your opinions. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. Manasseh, your final words, you go.
You see, my final words are that it is not fair for my brother to sit here and say that during the NDC's time, people did not struggle to eat. We don't have short memory, as has been said of us by the former president, John Dramani Mahama. Because you see, when you cancel nursing and teacher training allowance, and when teachers work for 3 years, and you pay them for 3 months, that is unfair and unfortunate. When there are no externalities and you are unable to solve Dumso cripples the country for 5 years and businesses collapse. You think when you are running a business and it collapses, you'll be able to eat. How will you be able to even fend for yourself? And so please, let's be factual in our statement. The NDC is known for their inefficiencies in running this country. And everybody knows, if not for COVID, and the externalities, and even the economic crisis that hit the world in 2020, and even in this year, we wouldn't have been having these issues. But government has been deliberate in our efforts in ensuring that prices of food, fuel, even our currency would gain some respite. And we are focused in ensuring that we would be able to restore the economy back to macroeconomic levels that we seek for. And the constant attacks, I maintain again that the constant attacks on the vice president should cease. The NDC is aware that their candidate is no match for the vice president, and they are aware that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will beat them again in the 2024 election. And so that's how come they've started all these petty attacks. Even if he's done nothing, they want to call for his head. They are very much aware, and we'll see what
Bawumia is the easiest candidate to beat in 2024. Would have preferred Alan or some other candidate, not Bawumia.
All right.
Bawumia is the least person we would want to. She is the least person. He's not the problem at all.
Thank you so much for being here. But the floods, it's raining though.
Yeah.
The floods, you know, lives were lost. Hey, Manasseh, is your government in power? Oh? People are dying, oh.
Yeah, I mean.
They are incompetently handling it. But he just spoke. I haven't got the opportunity to speak. NADMO is not able to effectively handle this. They don't even have the resources. That's a fact. He just attacked NDC's record. Let me respond to that. We solved Dumso. The investment of the NDC is the reason why we have life today.
I just asked the question.
No, I need to respond to
the
investment of the NDC.
You need to swap seats.
The investment of the NDC is
why we have. Do you know I was going to come to you?
Then I'll wait my time.
It's very typical of them, so I'm not surprised. Let him ask all the questions. Then when he's done, I'll answer.
Let's just a brief take on it, okay, please.
Rosalind, floods are very critical. And today, even in spite of all the investments our government has done, you know, as it relates to flooding in Accra, we still have incidents. I tell you something, on Friday I was at Kaneshie when it was raining. It was the first time I never knew Kaneshie lies low like that. And the kind of flooding that happened from Kaneshie through to Weija, and I mean, it was so terrible. And so I believe it's important for us to do some re-engineering on the roads to see how we'll be able to build some better drainages.
But you know, even the bridges that have been constructed still.
Yeah,
Was it? They are contractors or is what?
I mean, it's surprising, and typically for those of us who plied the road from Kaneshie to Weija Kaswa, I understand that on the hill, Weija Kaswa Hill, there are a lot of construction ongoing, and so whenever it rains, the residue would drop down to the roads, and it's terrible. It's terrible. So I believe collectively we would have to sit through and plan, because a lot of re-engineering will have to be done again. Otherwise, we would continue to experience incidences of flood whenever it rains.
When is it going to be?
I mean, it starts now. I am aware of a lot of meetings between the Minister for Sanitation and the National Security Ministers as it relates to incidences like this, because what happened on Friday was so bad. At Kaneshie, I myself, I was stuck in a car at Kaneshie for about 2 hours.
What about Kaswa? Kaswa was
That's what I'm saying. From Kaneshie to Kaswa, terrible.
But why do we have just one road? Why? Can't we construct an alternative road that if somebody is going to Cape Coast, there's an alternative road? Why do we still have one road?
It's very important, and we've begun feasibility studies on the dualization of the what's the name? Kaneshie Cape Coast Road. I think it's very important. But beyond the dualization, I will agree that it will be very, very important for us to have a bypass or an alternative road. I mean, it's so discomforting whenever it rains in Accra, and I believe it's important for something drastic to be done. Otherwise, we would continue to invest, but it will be a waste.
Well, your time, Philemon.
So we do not remember the fact that this government has unleashed violence and brutal force on innocent protesters who only want to express their opinion.
You're talking about floods.
Yes, we will not forget that. We also will not forget that John Mahama invested, which is the reason why we have power today. And finally, we shall not forget that a government that has been in power for 7 years still sits here and says we are still running feasibility studies. A government that has witnessed 7 years of extensive flooding still sits here, fold their hands and are unable to act. This is the government we are attacking. This is the government we are going to take out to 2024. I think that the people of Ghana deserve better. The people of Accra, Greater Accra, and all flood-prone regions need to be taken seriously. Let's not wait for the annual ritual of going with cameras and then condoning with people that have lost valuables, because this government has the opportunity to act on solving floods, but they don't. They have sat unconcerned as floods happen year in, year out. They have the power. They should act. It is not up to me or up to the opposition.
It's not true. We've sat unconcerned. We've built a lot of drainages. When I was speaking, didn't you interject? He interjected, so I can do same. We have done a lot of investments in this regard, but I'm saying that we still have a lot of places that would have to do some re-engineering. It is very important.
Let's make it.
You did say. Now I'm doing same. He's crying. You see, he's crying.
No, I'm not crying. You see, he's not a champion of Heke.
You did say.
It's okay.
You did say. So you cannot.
The fact of the matter is that this government has for 7 years sat unconcerned and floods have happened.
It's not true. We have invested more.
The people will know if it's true or not true.
The people of Adabraka, which is flood prone, the people of Weija, the people of Tetegu, the people of Malam, the people of Kaswa, they deserve better. And this government has
what did you do in your time?
Ensure that the people
during
of this country
what did they do in that
You
regard?
have for 7 years sat unconcerned.
When you were in power, what did you do?
Please, it's raining out there. Gentlemen,
what did they do?
I want to say
nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Philemon.
That is unfortunate.
They only displayed incompetence when they were in government.
Manasseh and Philemon, thank you so much for being here today. Ladies and gentlemen, the rains are here again. I don't know why they are here. They never left anyway. From January, it's been raining all year. We're hoping that Friday was going to be the last of the rains, but it doesn't look like it's the last of the rains. It's even gotten worse. We are hoping that it will stop. It's raining as we speak now. Please be safe out there. If you know that you live in a flood-prone area, kindly get to a place that is high. Or if you know that you can't be in that, you can't drive through, please, if you have to get out of your car and get a good location, please do that. Your life matters more than the gadget. You can get the car back, you can get anything back, but your life matters. So please try as much as possible to protect yourselves out there. And we call on NADMO, we call on on the government to do something about what is happening, because we cannot keep losing lives year on year on. We keep complaining, we keep crying, we vote party into power, they come, people die. The next party comes to power, people die. Can we do something about it? Please, let's help lives there. And the last time I actually saw a riverside being filled with sand so that they can put a building up there. The next time we'll know is that when it rains, it will be flooded. Why do we do this? Why do we do this? You go and buy a land. The place is full of water. See, I saw it with my eyes. It's not somebody saying it. And I was telling the person sitting next to me that, I think I forgot it was. I said, you see this place that looks like a lake. You see the construction has started. The next, give it 6 months, you see a huge building on there. What are we doing to ourselves? Please, if the place is not supposed to be a place for, people to stay, please do not build. Anyway, that'll be all for News Flash segment.